The theme for this weekend was one last hurrah. Obviously, lots of graduations going around throughout the tri-states, but more importantly, plenty of local teams wrapping up their regular season with the postseason ramping up this week. We start off our trip across the tri-states tonight at Quincy, Notre Dame. That's where the Raiders were looking to etch their names into the record books at the Ferd. Brady Kinehart in the Quincy Notre Dame looking to make history versus Routt today. In the first inning, QND's Tyler Dance on the hill. He catches the batter off guard with the off-speed pitch for his first K of the day. In the bottom half of the first frame, Tucker Tollerton sends this one over the center fielder's head. He'd turn on the burners for the triple. QND unable to bring him home that inning. Raiders would fall into a 3-0 hole as they entered a rain delay, but would storm back thanks to back-to-back home runs from Brady Kinehart and Dalton Miller. QND looking for some insurance in the 6th, up 4-3. Tollerton strikes again with an RBI single, and Miller would follow suit later that inning with another run batted in. Your final after 7 innings of play, QND picks up their 27th consecutive victory, a new school record, defeating Routt 6-4. Raiders also set the program record for most regular season wins in a single season. I had the chance to catch up with a couple seniors after the big win to talk about their historic regular season.
I mean, it feels great. I mean, there's a lot of people to thank. Obviously, coaches, players, parents, sponsors. I mean, there's a lot of things going into a lot of things that helped us get to where we are. So it definitely feels good to be a part of that big piece in history. So.
You know, it's awesome. It's just such a great thrill to have. Know that you're a part of history, and just an awesome feeling.